welcome here. Thank you for clicking on my video. It's been a minute since I've made a video, but welcome back if you've been here in the past. And if you're new here, I'm Esther. I'm married, I'm 23, and I'm actually pregnant with my first, and I'm 16 weeks pregnant. So I haven't made a video since the heat wave, which was back in I want to say June or July. And we're now in November, so it's been a minute. So I just figured today I'm doing some housework, including my laundry. So that's this could be a good opportunity to just sit down and kind of catch you up on what I've been up to. Can't remember if I mentioned it, but during the time of the heat wave, I actually was in an interview process with a potential job opportunity. Kind of in this local area. Long story short, I did get that job. I had a couple of kind of concerns accepting it to begin with. I just wasn't sure if it was going to be a great fit. And after 3 months of working there, I had a end of probationary period. So ended the first 3 months of working. What is it called? Performance review. And so I kind of put all my questions and concerns out there, and essentially the answer I got, it didn't give me much hope for the job moving forward. And so I had been talking to my husband throughout the time, and that was kind of the last straw. And so I am back to just working the part-time job that I originally had. I was doing both the full-time job and the part-time job. So right now I'm just doing the part-time job and just kind of doing things around the house. It's only been about a week actually since this all happened. So yeah, the past week or so I honestly just rested a lot because my body was just kind of dead, I think, from the first trimester. I had a really tough first trimester. It's kind of continued on a little bit, not nearly to the extent that it was, but yeah, a lot of morning sickness, which is poorly named. It is not in the morning. Also, excuse me, I'm gonna unbutton this because my belly's too big for my pants, so I'm just gonna give myself a little bit more space. So I'll do a belly update later on if you guys are interested in that. So yeah, that was the job side of things. On the pregnancy side of things, which is way more fun. So I had my IUD removed back in the beginning of June, and I actually got my first vaccine the day after I got my IUD out. And then I think mid-July was it August? I think it was mid-July we got the second vaccine. Taking out the IUD was, so I got it out beginning of June, and because we really had no idea what our chances were because of my lack of cycle, basically if we're not ovulating, the likelihood of getting pregnant was pretty slim. And the ovulation, my standard period cycle prior to getting my IUD removed was usually around 3 or 4 periods a year. And when those came was very sporadic. It wasn't a clear every 3 months you're gonna get your period. It was kind of you might be every month for 3 months and then nothing for 8 months. So I had a very sporadic cycle, and so I just really had no idea what our chances were. And so that's why we were just kind of we're 23, we were hoping to have kids by at least 25. And so we figured we may as well kind of start and see just what happened. So I didn't have any period at all. I bled a little bit right after I got it removed, which is just kind of your body's way, I guess, of kind of re-regulating its hormones, or in my case, deciding not to regulate its hormones. We really weren't on any kind of schedule or anything. I know some people, because they do have tracking, that they are much more intentional in that way. We honestly didn't do anything like that yet because we just didn't have any idea of what the cycle was or would be. And I was taking a pregnancy test every probably 2 weeks because I bought one of those Amazon like 50 packs. So it was kind of for that purpose, because I figured that was the best way just to track something, because the ovulation tests are a lot more expensive, and anyways, I just didn't want to do that route at that point. So I was taking a pregnancy test every 2 weeks, obviously a lot of negative tests, and so I just kind of was discouraged in the fact that I didn't have a period to kind of know. Like, it wasn't a clear, like, you're not ovulating, so you're not going to get pregnant. It just was like when is the ovulation going to happen so I can get pregnant? It was just very, I think, confusing in my head, and I was feeling pretty down on myself. It was a relatively short amount of time. I wanted to acknowledge that. But because there was so much uncertainty just around like what I can do, there were so many variables that I had no control over to even, I guess, put like the best effort out there. I didn't really know what to do. So kept taking the pregnancy tests, and after, I think, beginning of September, I took a test and there was a line. So I called Andrew in because I was kind of in disbelief, because I had so many negative tests and I hadn't even had a cycle at this point, or at least I hadn't bled. And so I was expecting at least to have a couple of periods before, you know, we actually got pregnant. So I was definitely in quite a state of shock. And so I called Andrew in and I was like, there's a line. He looked at it and he's like, is this real? And I was like, I don't know. I was like, well, it could be a faulty pregnancy test. Let's try again. And so I drank a bunch of water to have to pee again. And then that time I peed into like a container so that I could take multiple tests and see. So I took another one of the cheap ones just to make sure, and sure enough, it was another positive one. So then at that point, I got one of the expensive ones. I had gotten a pack of the expensive ones from Costco as well. They're like the digital ones, just as like confirmation tests. So I did one of the digital ones and it popped up saying, I think it said like 3 weeks or something like that. So after that we were like, okay, it's quite likely, it looks like we're pregnant. So at that point it was very late at night, and I think it was like, there was some sort of holiday weekend. So the Monday was off, and so doctors were closed. So as soon as that was over, we called we didn't have a doctor at that point. All we had was like basically kind of, in the States it'd be like a minute clinic, but it's basically just like it's not your standard doctor. I don't know. It's the place I went to get my IUD removed, so I thought it was like a normal doctor, but apparently it's more of like a minute clinic type thing. So anyways, called them. They set me up to go get my labs done, just like blood work and stuff, and told me to go get an ultrasound because I explained I hadn't had a period since June. We're in September, I'm pregnant. Basically, they had no idea I could be anywhere between like 4 weeks pregnant and 12 weeks pregnant. So they were just like, we need to find out ASAP. So I went and got the blood work done, confirmed I was pregnant. As far as ultrasound goes, that was a whole nother thing. I didn't know how to schedule my own ultrasound. I'm new to Canada, so I didn't really know how the whole system works. So I ended up calling someone from the church that we were attending, and we noticed that they had children, so we expected they know the system here. So we called them, asked them just kind of what is the protocol, what do you do, who do you go through. Like, I know in some countries it's more common to do like OBGYN or doctor, and other places it's more midwives. So I had no idea anything. So they walked me through it. They said to call back the doctor, and that the doctor is the one who usually schedules the ultrasound, so have him do it, or at least like the people working there. And so I called them back the next day. The front desk people were super helpful. They scheduled it for me, called me back, gave me my appointment, and I immediately started looking for a midwife based on the conversation that I had had with the very helpful couple. The midwives didn't want to take me on since I didn't know when I was due, because I didn't have a clear period, which is how they date how far along you are. So I went in for my first ultrasound, and the ultrasound basically just confirmed I was pregnant, but they couldn't measure the baby. They just saw the like placenta or something, or they saw like gestational sac. I'm not exactly sure what, but basically it wasn't enough to confirm how far along I was, but it was enough to confirm that I was pregnant. Then they said, okay, you'll have to come back in about a month, and that's when we'll actually be able to date you. I waited a month, and I got dated, and it was almost like exactly what we were expecting based on what that pregnancy test had said. So those, at least for us, had been very accurate. So we were very thankful that like that had been pretty spot on. So our due date is May 15th, 2022. So I was able to confirm that I got my midwife, and they like detected the heartbeat and all that good stuff. And then after that, we just have been working kind of with our midwife, and she's been kind of our go-to for how to deal with morning sickness and how to deal with different things. She got me on medication for my morning sickness, which has been great because I threw up less than I did without the medication. And I will say the Canadian healthcare system in the financial sense is much better than the US, just in the sense that you're not paying out of pocket for most things, and the insurance cost up front is very affordable. I did have a couple of trips to the ER, well, one trip to the ER due to just throwing up so much. I started throwing up a little bit of blood at one point, and so we were just kind of like, we should check this out before it gets really serious. And I got hooked up to like an IV and all that good stuff. Ended up being okay. I definitely lost some weight, and it definitely was not a enjoyable first trimester, but overall I think I fared all right, which I am very thankful for. And then there was a period where I couldn't hold anything down, including like solids or liquids, and so my midwife was like, if this continues, you're gonna have to go back to the ER to get another IV, because if you're not getting any liquids, you know, you're in a pretty bad situation. So I waited it out, and it was still bad, but her one suggestion before ER was to get a suppository, which I did not know what a suppository was until that day. I now know what they are, and that did get me to a position where I could at least get my solids down so that I could start taking the medication that I had been taking again. And so yeah, I ended up using that for a couple of times just to be able to start taking my medication again and get back into a position where I could survive. And keep in mind, during all this time I was working 9 to 5, and that was definitely a challenge. I think that is part of the reason that the last week or so I just have been resting, because it was a long first trimester. But again, I am so thankful that I have been able to get pregnant, and that this so far has been a safe and good pregnancy. Baby's been doing great. We were able to do the genetic screening, which is just a like blood test where they do some screening for some common genetic defects, and also end up telling you the gender. So we did that a few weeks ago, and all the results came back okay. So baby's all right, and we know the gender. So I think we'll probably be talking about that at some point. I don't think we're gonna keep it a secret. Our family already knows, so if you are close to our family, you may already know as well. It was fun. We kept it a secret from even our family, except for our parents. We told our parents pretty early on, just because I had been so sick and I just wanted support and help from somebody who had experienced pregnancies before. My mom has 3 kids, and my mother-in-law has 7. So between the two of them, they have ample information about pregnancy. So I just wanted their input. We actually ended up telling all the siblings all in one day, which was a Saturday, and between the two of us, we have about 10 siblings, including like in-laws and stuff. So it took a full day of calling people and letting them know. But it was a really fun day just to, like, no one's in our local area, so we couldn't do anything like that, but we were able to do a couple of group calls, and overall we just got to tell everybody, which was super exciting, especially since I feel bad, but my mother-in-law still has 3 kids at home, so she had to keep it a secret from them for a couple of weeks, probably a couple of months more like, because I think I told our parents close to, it was probably like 6 weeks. It was very early, and because that's when I had to go to the ER. We told all of our siblings around 10 weeks, so I guess it was about a month between those 2 dates. At 14 weeks, we publicly announced that we are expecting, and that's when we were kind of gave our family the okay to just like tell anybody. And now we're 16 weeks, I'm finally making a video about it. I actually initially was hoping to do like our announcement, pregnancy announcement, as a video, but here we are. I did not. We're not gonna do like anything crazy and a reveal party type thing, just because we don't have very many friends or family around here. So we already know, we've told all of our family, so it's not like a huge deal right now to us. But we might share it with the general public at some point, so stay tuned for that. So far we actually don't have too much that we are collecting for the baby. We have like a baby carrier, and we got a bassinet off of Facebook Marketplace, which is really cute. I'll show you guys like a picture or video or something. I'll add that in. We do have the baby's name picked out. I am like kind of wondering if we're gonna change our minds, or like I'm gonna change my mind. I've had a couple of like additional new ideas, but Andrew's still pretty firm on the one that like we'd originally chosen. Before we knew gender, we had narrowed it down to a first and middle name for both boy and girl. So we kind of had it selected their way, but again, I don't know. Sometimes I feel like now that we actually have like the gender, like, are we actually like still committed, or will we like change our mind now that it's like, this is who the baby is, you know? I do not know. We're a little stressed, just in the sense that we are going to be new parents, so you know, all the learning curves that come with that. I think we're a little anxious, but I think also just making sure that we provide a good home. We just want to be sure that, you know, we're providing the best that we can, both in like safety and security, but also in just like family time and making sure our baby is loved and cared for. So yeah, I think we're a little anxious and nervous just with the craziness of life. Like Andrew's in grad school, so like, you know, he's very busy, and I don't know what my like job situation is going to be going forward. I'm hoping to find something, but at the same time, if it means that like at least for the start I'm just a stay-at-home mom, I think that's going to be okay. Andrew and I are both quite frugal, and so we can make do with a small amount of money. Even though Vancouver's quite pricey, we can kind of get by. I think it's just going to depend on how things go. So we're looking forward to it, and we're very thankful for the people that we have in our lives, like covering my face, who have been kind of supporting and just, you know, praying for us and been excited for us, you know, sharing the joy of this time really does help. I think reminding that like it is a big deal, but it's also just like an exciting transition in life, even if it is going to be difficult, and even if pregnancy has its own challenges, that like this is a great thing. Also, oh my gosh, the lighting is so bad. I'm so sorry. I don't really know if I've made like total sense. I know this has been kind of all over the place, but yeah, I think those are kind of the main updates in my life. Andrew is still doing well. He's still enjoying his program. That has its own set of challenges, as you'd expect of a science research thing. I don't even understand most of what, not even just like what he studies, but also just like the process that people have to go through. Like I'm learning, but it's definitely not something that I was ever really exposed to. So it's been interesting kind of following his journey through that. We're very excited for Christmas because we'll actually be heading to the States to see my family, and it'll be the first time that all 5 of us, I'm one of 3 kids, between COVID and also people living in different countries, there just was never a time that everyone was in the same place at once. I'm very excited to have everyone together in person at once. It'll be a really special time. Andrew actually hasn't even met one of my brother in person ever, so it'll be really fun to finally get to introduce the two of them. Thank you so much for watching this video. I'm hoping to become more regular in making videos again. I really enjoy this as an outlet because it's just a great way to kind of document where we are in life. You know, life changes so drastically, and I know especially once we have a kid, it's going to be totally different. And so I think it's going to be really special to look back at this and kind of see the like naivety and like just where I was as a person before having another person in my life. If you have not already, please give this video a thumbs up, subscribe, and press that notification bell to not miss any of my uploads. YouTube doesn't always put your subscribed like videos on your recommended feed, so if you're like me, sometimes you have to go and like specifically search for your people, you know? So anyways, please do that so that you can see my videos. I am hoping to reach 1,000 subscribers, and follow me on this journey because I'm going to be a new mom and I have no idea what I'm getting into. I'm the youngest in my family, so I was not around young children very much unless I was babysitting and things like that. So I really enjoyed them, but I did not live with them. So keep me in your prayers because I'm sure I'm going to need it. Oh, I'll show you a quick belly update. Where my belly's at. If I relax, it comes out a little bit more, and if I like tighten, that's how like small it can get. That's where I'm at. And if you have any suggestions of must-haves for during pregnancy and then also during like the newborn phase up to about like a year, let me know, because I'm trying to make kind of like a list of like things that I need to get. Thank you, and I will see you next time. Bye.